In this tutorial, we're going to continue Adobe Illustrator CC 2020 Classroom and Book Chapter 3, using shapes to create artwork. This is part 3. So when we left off, we just finished making this line for the table. And now we're going to go ahead and create that lemon shape we see in the end one by doing what's called an image trace. So image trace is a great function in Illustrator that allows you to convert those vector or raster images that are based off pixels, into one that is a vector, so we can actually scale it. So let's do File and Place. Go find your Chapter 3 and grab that lemon JPEG. Hit Place, and we're just going to go ahead and click it right in. Oh, I didn't do a big enough file. I somehow moved it. Place. Grab the lemon. Place. Alright, so it is big, and that's fine. We're not worried about how big it is right now. So let's go ahead and zoom out so we can see it all. So now with the image selected, let's go over here to the Properties panel and hit Image Trace. And for right now, let's go ahead and do Low Fidelity Photo. And we're going to play more with Image Trace moving forward, but for now, let's just kind of play with that. So you see when it did the trace, it actually grabbed some of the shadow as well, which we don't necessarily want. We're going to go ahead and clean up part of that here in a minute. So we want to go ahead now to say silhouettes, because we just want basically the shape of the outline. And here you can see we have a problem because it did grab all of that shadow as well. So I'm going to hit the Trace Panel button. And we're going to get more options here. From here, I want to go ahead and change a few of these items. If you can't see advanced, you need to hit the down part if you want to make sure preview is checked. Let's go ahead and change our threshold to be 206. Our paths should be 20. And our corners are 50, which is the default setting. And our noise, we're going to make 100 pixels. And then we're going to say OK, and we're good with it. We're going to close that trace panel. So we don't have a vector shape yet until we hit the word expand. That's going to go ahead and make it into those paths. So let's go ahead and ungroup those, because remember our shape had this extra weird thing, and we're going to go ahead and select that and hit delete, so we only have the one element that we really want. So let's go ahead now, grab our lemon, grab a fill, and make it a nice yellow color so it actually looks like a lemon. So now we want to clean it up just a little bit, make it a little bit easier. So let's go to Object, let's come down here to Path, and let's come down here to Simplify. And what it's going to do is make it so we add or reduce points. So if you can change this, how it changes how it traced. So right now it's about 10 points. Let's go ahead and look at our more options right here on the bottom. And in our more options, you'll see our new is 10, our original had 11. So let's go ahead and do the simplify curve, and let's go ahead and drag it down until our new points ends up at about 5. So you can kind of see how it's bringing in some of those elements. Alright, so I've got 5, and everything else looks okay, so let's say OK. Alright, so let's go ahead and scale our lemon. He's kind of big right now, so let's do a shift and drag until he's about 1.2 inches as far as the width goes. Unless you like super lemon. I'm okay with super lemon. Alright, let's go ahead and do a Control S and save what we have so far. So when we're working with Illustrator, we have 3 different drawing modes. We have Draw Normal, which is what stacks the shapes on top of each other, which is what we're used to doing. We have Draw Behind, which lets you draw obviously behind all the artwork on a selected layer. Or we have Draw Inside, which is kind of like using the clipping masks in Photoshop. So let's go ahead and play with placing some artwork. So let's make sure we have nothing selected. Let's do a File and Open. And let's go ahead and grab the one called artwork.ai and open. And we've got the words Farm Fresh, and we've got this kind of orange here. So let's do our selection. Do Select All. It's going to grab everything on there. Let's do edit and copy. Let's go into our postcard that we're used to seeing, view, and fit artboard window. And let's go ahead and do an edit. Let's do paste. And now Farm Fresh and the orange are on our thing. That's exactly what we want. Let's go ahead and hit enter. And we'll go ahead and do a Control S and save. So the next thing we want to do is mess with making this orange into an orange slice. So the first thing we want to do is click that red half circle, and let's go ahead and make it an orange color. Make it kind of an orange slice kind of color. And we're going to hit escape, hide that swatches panel. Now let's go ahead and go to our drawing modes, which is about 3 from the bottom. And we want to do draw inside. So you're going to see we get kind of these dotted lines around, which lets us know that we have our draw inside active. So the next thing we're going to do is grab our selection tool, go over here to our orange pieces, and do edit and cut. Then we're going to come over to our artboard, which is selected, and we're going to do edit, paste. And it's going to go ahead and paste that into the other. Now let's go ahead and choose our draw normal. And you're going to see that we now have that is clipped inside the other. And we're going to play with it a little bit more. So let's grab our selection tool. And we've got kind of things going on. So let's go ahead and we want to adjust that clipping path. So now we have a clip group. So let's go ahead and click the isolate mask over here in the properties. So we're going to play with just this one section. And let's go ahead and use our arrows to adjust how that is going to sit within our orange itself. And I'm happy with it, so I'm going to hit escape, close out, and now you can see that I just have that half showing, which is exactly what I want. Make sure nothing's selected, do Control S and save what we have so far. So now we're going to go ahead and play with draw behind. So with our drawing modes, let's go ahead and do draw behind. Let's go ahead and grab our rectangle tool. And we're going to draw a rectangle that goes from bleed to bleed. This is going to end up being our background. And we're going to go ahead and let go. And mine's on orange because we just made that orange piece. And let's instead make the fill kind of a gray. So choose any gray that you like. And do the escape to hide that swatches. And let's do object and lock the selection to make sure we can't accidentally grab that background layer. So let's go ahead and finish up, Control S, and this is the fun part for you guys. You get to actually start playing with some of these elements. So I'm going to grab these Farm Fresh and kind of center it more in my image, so I can kind of do that. I'm going to grab my bowl here and move it more towards the center. From there I can go ahead and start grabbing my different pieces of fruit. Maybe I want to have a second apple, so I'm going to hit Alt and grab. I'm going to have 2 apples here. And I can use my right click and arrange, bring to front, so you can kind of move those around depending on how you want to use them. I'm going to grab my pear and put it in here. I'm going to grab that leaf. Let's bring it over. My leaf is huge. We're going to go ahead and play with it a little bit. Grab it, drag it over, make it a little bit shorter. And maybe I want to make another one, so I'm going to do an Alt, drag another one, kind of turn it around. Maybe you want to make it a little smaller. If I hold my Shift key, I can make it a little smaller. Alright, maybe I want to make it kind of a different color of green. So this is where you get to start playing with the different elements that you have created for your publication. Maybe you want to make a second one of these, so let's go Alt and grab a second orange slice. Oh, maybe. Let's do arrange, bring to front. Alright, there we go. And let's do an Alt. Alright, do an edit and copy. undo. C for copy, V for paste. So now I've got another one. So totally up to you what you're going to do. Don't forget you also have that flower over here on your pasteboard. My flower is a bit large and obnoxious. Oh, I lost my pasteboard view. Fit artboard and window. I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit smaller. Maybe I don't like the red, so I can double click it, go back into the isolation mode, and change that fill. Maybe you want to go ahead and make it white. Alright, so I'm going to hit escape. I made it black, not what I wanted to do. Double click again. And instead of fill black, fill white, please. Alright, escape. Escape. Now I have my flower. And maybe I want to make it have some leaves as well, so Alt and grab. So you can kind of sit here, play with the pasting modes, play with all, oh, I made another flower. Play with a lot of the different elements until you end up with a postcard that you are happy with. Let's go ahead and slide him over here. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate it just a little bit. So let's grab that rotate and make it, oh, maybe not that much. That's not bad. Or I can go out here and grab it. So when you're done, this is how it ended. You can add lots and lots of leaves. You can add just a few leaves. It's up to you as to how you're going to put it together. You can go ahead and close artwork. We're not going to use that one anymore. And we're going to go ahead and when you're finished with it, you could go ahead, if you wanted to, you could change the color of these Farm Fresh. White's kind of boring. I'm going to make mine pink. I'm going to make it red. There we go. So kind of make it your own. I'm going to center it a little bit better. And let's go ahead. That is not even close to centered. I'm going to do my view, see my rulers. Turn my rulers on. We know it was 4 1/4, right? No, it's 6, so half is 3. I'm going to go ahead and drag a guide over to 3. And I'm going to grab these guys. Oh, I can tell I'm off. That's where guides can come in really handy. So make it whatever you want. Do Control S and save. When you're done, go ahead and package it. So File, and it's still saving, File, Package. Go ahead and make sure you pay attention to where you're putting it, and make sure I put it in my folder. So my tutorials, my classroom and books, my chapter 3, and select that folder. Instead of folder, I'm going to put the letter PKG at the end, so I know it's the packaged one. And say package. Don't steal the fonts, show the package. Alright, once it shows the package, you're going to go ahead and see it's in your lesson 3. You're going to do a right click, send to compressed folder, and you're going to submit that zipped one. So I hope you have fun drawing and arranging and creating this amazing fruit bowl today.